In this video I'm going to discuss registers, the memory map, and register descriptions. We emulate all of the Modbus addresses, coils, inputs, registers, and holding, and we also add one called timer counters. Each type, for example coils, has the full range 0 to 65, 535, which is the same for inputs, input registers, and holding registers. We also chose not to have a tag name which references a holding register or coil or input register, so that, for example, pump 1 start would be coil 1, pump 1 stop would be coil 2, and then you would reference the tag name in the instruction. We chose to just use the address as the reference, so you don't have that indirection. So, for example, when you put an examine on, you actually just use the coil. You don't have to then have an assigned tag name that references the coil. It saves a step. But we did want to have descriptions for the addresses. So that is done via register descriptions. So for example, this could be pump 1 start, and this could be pump 1 stop. And the dot is used to delimit the address from the description. And as you notice, the description is not shown here. And if you want to see the description, you would go to Preferences and enable Show Address Comment. And of course it takes up more room, so the cells become larger. And there's the pump 1 start and the pump 1 stop. This red diagonal line just signifies that this symbol and its address is not being solved by the logic engine, which is currently active. We can stop the logic engine, and you see that goes away because there's no logic executing at the moment. For timers, in the traditional Modbus, a timer occupies a holding register, but we decided not to burn a holding register for a timer or a counter. So here you create timers and counters. You give them a name. We already named these. Pump 1 start and pump 1 stop. There's a preset of 5 seconds. You can preload the accumulator, and you can have a description if you desire. So when you put down a timer, you reference it via the timer that you created, so it doesn't burn a holding register. We also decided to break out holding registers into bits. So if you go to Register Descriptions and you select holding registers, this is for the individual holding registers, the full 16 bits. But we also have this holding register bits. And because there's so many of them, we grouped them to make it easier to use if you decide to use holding register bits. So for example, we could call this pump pressure bit 1, and this one bit 2. So now let's say we had an external device that packed its Boolean data into holding registers. In traditional Modbus, you would have to use an instruction to break apart those bits from the registers, but we decided to pre-do that so that it would be easier to use. So if you lay down an instruction and you know that it's going to be a bit in holding register 1, you drag holding register 1, and the program knows that it's a bit instruction. It says which bit do you want to use, and you can select a bit and select OK, or just double click on the bit. And now we see that this instruction is using holding register 400,001 bit 1. It just makes it easier to break out bits, which is kind of common that devices will put them into holding registers. And that's it for the memory assignment register descriptions video.